Hey all, this is Timur, and on this week's episode of CVG Off the Record, we discuss the Xbox One price cut, the Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes price drop, Project Gotham Racing 5, Nick's played Thief, Trials and Outlast, Chris has spent some time with Wolfenstein and South Park, and Joe tells us about a little game called BaraBariBall. Plus, we reenact a few scenes from BioWare's upcoming RPG Dragon Age Inquisition in an attempt to get our voices in the game. As always, feel free to use the shortcuts on the side of the screen to skip to the bits that you want to listen to, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube page, rate and review us on iTunes. Hello and welcome to CVG Off the Record. My name is Timur Hussain and I am joined in the studio by Joe Screbbles.
Hello.
How's it going, Joe?
I'm all right. I'm not used to being asked how I am.
Yeah.
People just assume I'm
mixing
terrible.
it up. I've been told that I sound a bit like emotionless and I don't care enough for my fellow podcasters. So I don't actually care really.
You're sort of an order of business robot.
Yeah, exactly. People actually, when I started off by doing the introductions for the YouTube part of it, people actually said you sound like a robot. So I said, well, that's fine. I've got a firmware update coming next week, and I updated it. Yeah, you see that?
Banter.
Yep.
Nerd jokes.
Second voice there, Chris Scullion.
Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, good.
Are you sure? You sound terrible.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Chris has been away for a little while, so he's kind of like...
He's getting back in it.
He's back
Yeah,
now.
I'm
He's like,
getting back.
whoa, what's the voice this all
Back
about?
in the swing of things.
And third voice there is Nick Cohen.
Hello.
How's things on your side, Nick?
Oh, all right. I just got back from Helsinki.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I went. How was Helsinki?
Cold.
Was it dark all the
It was
time?
very cold.
and
it was
very dark.
monochrome. It was like being in a Christopher Nolan film.
Did you get assaulted by any people who said they were goblins?
No.
The time my dad went to Helsinki, he came back and said a woman in a bar had come up and told him a fairy tale and said she was a goblin, then demanded money. And
Really?
then left when he said, in a huff, when he said he wouldn't give her any
When
because she was mad.
When she said she was a goblin.
Yeah, an
did
actual
she not
goblin.
Maybe means something else.
Oh, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
True story. My
He's
granddad.
slagging off his dad.
True story. My granddad, when he lived in Pakistan, swore up and down. Like when I was younger, he told me, "Yeah, I once met a witch. She was actually a witch." And to be fair, I went to Pakistan a little while back, and I was like, "Yeah, I can see witches existing here.
Wow.
Anywhere I can imagine it here." Because you see people walking around like weird, like kind of like ritualistic tools that are just like now and then. It looks out of place because for the most part, everywhere else looks normal-ish. And then you just see this lady walking around with like a cauldron and shit. You're like, what's going on here? This is very strange, but yeah. So first up is we're going to go...
That's a racism.
moving on from the casual racism. We're going to do news first. And the big story this week has been the Xbox One price drop in the UK. So Microsoft has announced that... the system is being cut by £30 in the UK beginning Friday, 28th February, and the new retail price is now $399.99, I believe, estimated retail price. And worldwide, they are bundling in Titanfall with the console. How do you feel about that?
Wait, so the price stays in the US, for instance?
The price is
but
unchanged
Titanfall
in the US, but
becomes
they
a
get
pack in.
Titanfall. Yeah. You don't have an Xbox One, do you?
I don't.
Is this something that tempts you to buy an Xbox One?
Well, I don't have any money, so nothing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of put off by the fact that I would die if I bought any of these things. But it certainly is a thing if at some point a relative died or I stole a load of money, it's made me get closer to the idea of buying an Xbox One than I was.
How does a relative dying?
Huh?
How does a relative dying equal
It'd be
that?
a
It might
rich
leave me
relative.
some money.
Oh, like $399 for an Xbox One.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, in the will.
In the
This
will.
money is only to be used for a next-gen console.
Yes.
Well, I
Nick?
mean, how does $369.97 sound to you? Because apparently
That's
GameStop
GameStop.
are doing it at
GameStop
that
UK
price,
have
yeah.
discounted it even further.
Yeah, I know a bunch of
I-
people that are currently like going as fast as they can to buy one, and I know like Titanfall was what they were waiting for. But
Yeah.
now that that's shown up, they're just like, screw it, might as well just do it now.
Well,
That's the thing. Yeah, I could get behind that.
I know several people who are gnashing their teeth and pulling their hair out, like Tom Tamblyn, our news writer on T3, because they were one of the early adapters,
Yeah,
and
me
like
too,
now
yeah.
they're turning around and going, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
That opinion really annoys me. I understand, but if you're an early adopter, they win. That's how business works. You bought early because you bought early.
The thing is that
they have every right to reduce the price for other
people.
people.
Oh, they absolutely do. I mean, and it goes without saying that if you're an early adopter, you know the price is going to drop at some point. But 3 months is like the earliest I've seen that happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
again,
the 3DS went. Surely did that not at least go a year or something before Nintendo did the drop? And then the ambassador
it was
program?
definitely more than what the Xbox One went through. But like even if I don't care if it was the week after, that is a risk that I weigh up every time I buy a console on day one. Whether you do or don't, personally, that's your fault.
Just to clarify,
be smarter.
I'm not taking a stand either way on this. I just find it funny.
Oh yeah.
And whenever I write these stories out, I read them out aloud so Tom can hear them.
He sits right next to you as well, so he's probably just like, "Oh fuck."
Hey Tom, have you heard this? Yeah, shut up.
Yep, leave it.
I just wouldn't mind, like, just even if they just put like 15 quid in everyone's Microsoft account or something like that.
How much money is that?
Wow.
Like, how many hundreds
It's
of
nothing to them.
consoles?
It's virtual currency. It's not
fair
actually
enough,
costing them any money at all.
What if they gave you a copy of Rise, Son of Rome?
I've already got it, so. No, I know I'm sounding really entitled, and I hate people who sound entitled by and large, but it's just doing it's such like so quickly within only 3 months.
Yeah. Well, I think
a
from
bit more than it should.
Microsoft's perspective, what they're saying is
we're not doing well.
What they're saying is it's no different from being given the FIFA bundle, which you had on day one or whatever. Yeah, but it is slightly cheaper. So they're trying to pass it off as like actually.
I'd point out that it's very, very different from giving you the FIFA bundle, because with FIFA you got an iterative title that just they do bits and pieces to it every single year, and it's always very good. But Titanfall is mind-blowing. I mean, that is a killer app right there. That is, I read this on Penny Arcade the other day, and I agreed with every word. The guy said, if I was a developer making a shooter right now and I saw Titanfall, I would be absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. I mean, because this is not just next-generation game. This is next-generation thinking.
Yeah.
And these systems are crying out for a title like that. So to bundle that in and then cut the price is quite a big deal. I mean, you got FIFA or Forza because that's what was there at launch. You know what I mean? It's like, had Dead Rising been one of the games on offer, I'm sure more people would have maybe been up for that. But it's
why are you laughing, Nick?
Sorry, it's like Titanfall or Dead Rising. Wow,
I know. No, I know. But even I mean, given that in terms of the launch games, at least. FIFA and Forza were kind of there were options, and it's like I know I'm sounding really spoiled.
No,
but it's like that was like 430 quid spent, and really nice.
But I do agree with Joe, as in if you bought day one,
shut up, you whiners.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. To be fair, like if you bought day one, you took a risk. Did
you buy day one?
Yeah, I bought mine day one. I waited in a massive line and everything.
Wow.
So after if they changed the price on it, I'm like, well,
you knew Titanfall was coming. You knew they were relying on it. Like everything. Like the price drop, I'll give you that. But everyone knew a bundle was coming, and that's just how it works. Yeah. Like it's a sound business decision. If they've got people like me who wrote off the console and said, "I'll wait 3 years," now going, if I had some money, I would buy that.
I remember months ago,
that's a win.
Our news editor, Tom Ivan, I asked him, are you going to buy an Xbox One? And straight up, before anything, like even a Titanfall bundle was, even rumored, he said, no, I'm just going to wait for the Titanfall bundle. It was just a matter of, everyone knew it was happening. So to turn around now and say, oh, we can't believe this is happening. I guess the price drop is a big part of it.
It's more the price drop than the bundle, because everyone was expecting a Titanfall bundle. Yeah. They just weren't expecting it to cost less than the
so that bundle is going to be out.
Put it this way, if the early adopters done a good enough job of telling people that it was a good console, then it wouldn't have happened.
That's absolute bullshit.
I'm just heaping on the troubles.
Yeah. I'm sure you could probably give your console back if you're smart enough with it.
Nah.
I've pulled it off in the past, so
Mr. Stealth.
Yep. So limited edition bundle is available globally from Friday as a special edition Titanfall packaging, which means the box is a different color. An Xbox console.
Does it come with that weird controller they announced? That really ugly Titanfall controller.
You know what I find really weird about their press releases? It's when they individually list parts of like the core parts of the hardware, like Xbox One console, Kinect sensor, standard wireless controller, chat headset. It's like,
HDMI
why are you listing that
cable.
stuff? Like, are you going to put in like AC adapter?
There was that amazing video Nintendo put out before the Wii U came out, where Iwata, with his little pair of white gloves, little Mickey Mouse gloves, just went through like picking up the stands and stuff, like the little the little struts that you stand your Wii U up on if you bought the premium edition. It was just weird as hell. It was like one of those press releases, but with a little smiling man going, "It's great, isn't it? Look at this plastic."
So the bundle also has 1 month of Xbox Live Gold membership, which we will need for Titanfall.
Yeah, that's kind of handy for Titanfall. Isn't it?
And a digital copy of Titanfall.
But here's the thing about Titanfall: does it have the facility for me to paint my Titan bright pink and put hearts and bunny rabbits over it?
Maybe.
That's how mechs should always work.
Sorry, not mechs, Titans.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
They're mechs. Let's go.
I've made that mistake before.
They're Titans.
They're
not mechs. As if like mechs never existed before it. But yeah. I'm hoping on PC they have like some sort of mod support, because that would be amazing. It's people reskinning their Titans to look like cartoon characters,
like
and shit like that. Yeah, Gundams and that kind of thing. I'll be well up for that.
Friend of mine,
something out of Invader Zim.
Yes. Really good. Friend of mine was always into Armored Core games, and in every game he'd have one mech called the Prawn, and it was just this bright pink weird thing that he'd shape as close as possible to a prawn. It was brilliant. I want a prawn in Titanfall.
So when Titanfall comes out, which is March 11th, there's also going to be an Xbox update, Xbox One dashboard update. It's got a bunch of fixes in it, including making the party and chat system not shit, which it currently is.
What's wrong with it?
It's just inconvenient in every way. Like, you start and it won't automatically put you into a party with people, and stuff like moving from game to game isn't possible by dragging your whole party with you. So you have to individually micromanage every part of being in a party. It's so bad.
How has that not been a bigger story?
It's been pretty big.
They fucked up the thing Xbox Live was good at.
It's so bad. I've only ever been in a party on my Xbox One once, and that was the day it came out. Since then, never touched it. No. Ever. I was like, I don't understand how this works. It's indecipherable to me. So forget it.
There's another feature that I'm more excited about. And it's the bringing back recent players list.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, when you on 360, when you've just played people online, when you go to your friends list, there's a separate panel called recent players where you can see the people who just played, which isn't on Xbox One at the moment, which is madness. So if I'm playing someone at FIFA and he's been a cheating bastard, and at the end of the game,
I love how you took the cynical approach to this. You wanted to catch the cheating bastard.
At the end of the game, when the game's
cool.
over, I can't get a hold of him and say you're a cheating bastard, mate. Because unless I've remembered his username, he's completely disappeared from all space and time. Whereas now, I'll, after this new update, I'll be able to say, "Oh, that's who he was, you prick."
On the other hand, I like to friend people who I have good play experiences with.
Well, no, that'd be really good in Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
because Left 4 Dead, I used to meet up quite regularly with a group of guys from South Central in Los Angeles. Cause
Ice Cube and shit.
Well, no, they just found my accent funny, and I find myself becoming more and more English as I play. It's like bust a cap in his backside, you know. You know that?
See, I used it. I thought it was quite useful on Xbox 360, because if you had a game which, you know, there wasn't a massive community for, like online. This is stupid, but when Team Fortress 2 came out first on when it came out on Xbox 360, no one was playing that game. I, for some reason, wanted to play that game, but obviously it's hard to find servers and people to play with. So I would just go to the recent player list, find the people that I had good connection with and enjoyed the experience with, and friend them, and then once that game kind of died, I got rid of them. Wow. But like, it was a good way to maintain a community, kind of create mini communities within, you know, Xbox Live, just to keep track of games and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's really useful for that. But on top of that, it's also going to be introducing Twitch streaming, which has been missing for a really, really long time. The Xbox One version of Twitch, interestingly, looks like it's being developed by Twitch and not by Microsoft.
Yeah.
And the Yusuf Mehdi, who's an exec at Xbox went to pains to point out that Sony's one is developed by Sony, whereas this is, Twitch side. Have you used Twitch on PS4?
Yeah, it's decent. I actually don't mind the Twitch on PS4, but there are some features that are missing, which this one apparently will be introducing. Yeah. Like, for example, if I'm streaming a game, once the stream's done, that's it, it's done. Whereas if I'm streaming on normal Twitch, I can save a recording of it and then put it on YouTube, whatever. It seems that this Xbox One Twitch will let you do that. Will save an archive of the stuff you've filmed, so you can. I
think how it works is because Twitch have designed it so that it's plugged into their side instead of a Sony side. It's just the equivalent of when you're done, you hit a button and it does the same thing on the site, hit archive, and it will just save everything. But it's got a bunch of new features other than that. Sony's one's just kind of like a portal. You look at people and that's it. You can't really do anything else. Whereas this seems to be more integrated at like a system level. So if you're watching someone stream, you can actually join their game from just viewing it, and you can invite people into parties.
Really cool.
Yeah, so you can grab people from your Twitch stream in the chat menu and just put them in your own party and invite them in, and you can assign someone to be a moderator for the chat and stuff like that.
It'll be useful if we do like CVG, we do more live streams in the future. It'll be useful.
Which we will be.
Yeah, it'll be useful if we're streaming a game and some troll comes on and starts in the comments and starts saying
trolls again.
Yeah, but if someone comes on and starts saying your shit, you say, well, come on in then, come on into the game and put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, exactly.
You do have an amazingly negative view.
I don't play online much.
Functionality.
I just don't like people. I'm very much a single player gamer.
So the share button is something of an anathema to you on the PS.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is there a no sharing button?
The share button for me I might as well tip X out the bit that says share and just write on it, hey everyone, look at this prick, because that's generally what I use it for. Take screenshots of people being like knobs.
So yeah, look forward to that. Please be excited, as they say in Japan. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, the next gen version of it. The price has been changed and...
Price drop.
Yeah, price drop. So the price has been changed by £10. It was previously priced at $39.99 pounds, $39.99 and euros. That's the box version of the PS4 and Xbox One version, which I didn't know existed. I thought it was just a digital version on next gen, which is crazy. So now it's $29.99 across all territories.
Right.
Wait, so... was the boxed version more expensive than the digital version in the first place?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's almost like they have some sense. Like, that's madness.
Do you know how much this art and this booklet plastic container costs?
So, obviously, Andy is the only one that played it. He's not here to talk about it. He refuses to tell us about it because, he's under embargo.
Oh, really?
But if the rumors are true, and it is only 2 hours long.
Where'd you get these rumours from? Were they Andy talking?
No. This place called the Internet. I don't know if you've heard of it.
We don't go there on Nintendo consoles. What are you talking about?
Right. It's kind of like the Miiverse, but a little quicker, and there's less people watching your posts as they happen.
Sounds less fun than Miiverse.
To be fair, it is.
If I can be devil's advocate here, now I don't really care that much.
I like that you're asking, as opposed to just doing what you usually do and being devil's advocate.
I mean, I hate Metal Gear Solid, so I don't care anyway. But
Jesus Christ!
If the argument before was that the boxed one could cost more than the digital one, then when the price of that gets dropped, could people not argue that the digital one should then get cheaper as well? I put it to you.
They could, but clearly they have a price point in mind for it. Like, what was your rumour going to be?
My rumour was and I was just going to ask you if it is 2 hours, is $29.
Oh, is that the rumour? It's 2 hours long.
Yeah, apparently. And can be completed a lot quicker. Obviously, Kojima responded to this online and said, it was weird because people said this is only 2 hours long and it costs this much price, and then his response was, yeah, but you're not focusing on the fact that I wanted you to experience the photorealism. So they're like, this is short, and he's like, but look at the graphics. It's really strange.
That's a really unusual take for Kojima. Like the digital download thing, it just sounds like it should be cheaper anyway. It doesn't really. It's not the relative.
It sounds like a kind of like a Dead Rising Case Zero type effort.
But the most expensive version of that possible.
Just wondering now if Ken Levine and the Naughty Dog are going to weigh in, going, "Excuse us, we got penalised for 2 hours here, and we were charging far less than what is it? $19.99,
$29.99.
No, but the digital download.
Oh, the digital downloads. I think it's $19.99.
So you could have that for £12, and come on. You know,
you're right there. Actually, I mean, it's not that far off, but I think
it sounds to me like DLC that's being released as with the same price as a marquee
It's like
title.
pre-DLC,
no,
isn't it?
to
It's
me,
like-
it sounds like, and I say this not really having much insight into the actual development or the business side of it, and I haven't spoken to Kojima. That's all been Andy. So this is just me as a fan talking.
Rubbishing him.
Yeah, trust
true
me,
fans
I am
do.
the biggest Metal Gear fan there is. Like, it's my favorite series of all time.
Really?
My favorite game. It's just a stealth game. Stealth games are my thing.
He's stealth.
But it sounds to me like they've taken like the E3 demo and just put a price tag on it,
I was going to say,
which is mad.
to be fair, I essentially paid full price for the Sons of Liberty demo when I bought Zone of the Enders.
Right.
So it kind of works out to the same
Yeah,
thing.
I
Got
guess
Zone of
so.
the Enders with it,
But
though.
you
Yeah, but
kind
that
of
wasn't that good.
yeah, but
That
you
was
kind
alright.
of you kind of do that. You're like Chris said, you're buying Zone of the Enders there as well. Whether
Yeah.
it's good or not, you're getting some value. You're getting an extra game. This is just Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, 2 hours of it. Go. For,
Do you think
for almost full price?
If the rumors are true, though.
If the rumors,
yeah,
analytical.
because I
Could
mean,
be 16
is there
hours
not-
long.
Have there not been other people saying that after those 2 hours, their save file said like 20% complete because there was stuff you could redo. There was like, I don't know whether it's time trials or whether
but I
it's
mean,
different
yeah.
medals for missions.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
totally
That could be anything
guessing
from collecting doodads to like just running around the map and making sure you've uncovered every corner of it.
like in Toe Jam and Earl.
Yeah,
you will
exactly
do that, though. As a
I will
Free time.
definitely
As
do
a
that.
huge Metal Gear
Until
Solid
it's
fan,
made.
you will do that. I mean, I bet you even played Metal Gear Solid 2 and liked it.
Metal Gear Solid 2 is an excellent game,
Agreed.
and I think anyone who says otherwise doesn't understand it.
It's
Okay.
balls. It's absolutely.
I'm
Prepare
gonna
your
I'm gonna
inbox for
I'm
some
gonna
hate.
spam you with articles about Metal Gear Solid, like a deep analysis of Metal Gear Solid that people have
No,
done.
please. I'd like someone to.
It's good.
Because
It's a
I
really good
gave
game.
up on it. I
Yeah.
gave up
Oh,
on
man.
it.
Oh,
It's
that's
an
a
excellent
fantastic,
game.
that's a
I
I
fantastic
gave up
game.
on it like.
Joe, you agree?
Yeah, I love Metal Gear Solid.
I'm not
2.
alone.
So there's a
No,
divide
look,
right
here's
down
the
right
thing.
down this room. Basically.
Diagonal divide down
It's
this room.
kind of weird when it's like this is one of the most celebrated game franchises of
Yeah,
all
yeah.
time, and somehow this room is 50% against it. It seems unusual.
I'm not panning it outright. I mean, I played Metal Gear Solid and I thought it was absolutely mind blowing. The first one,
It's,
Metal Gear Solid 2 to me was a bit of a disappointment.
Did you see it all the way through? You didn't, though, did
No,
you?
I quit.
That's the problem.
I see the Metal Gear Solid series as the Matrix of video games, where the first one was amazing, and then the second and
Oh,
third one
wow.
got a bit.
You
Wow,
don't like
just-
Snake?
It got a bit
you
wanky
need
and
to,
said, right,
you need
okay.
to close your mouth right
No,
now.
no, no, no.
Tam's going to come across this table.
Stop that. Stop that. He
Just
said
say
the
it, just
second
say it.
and the third one.
Yeah.
The third
Yeah.
one,
Man.
Chris.
You're
Chris,
going to
please
stop this now because
You gotta
otherwise
stop.
this
I will,
podcast
I will
is just gonna
fist fight you in this room.
This
And I
podcast
will
is just going to
win.
descend into. It's great. No, it's not. No, it is. No, it is.
CVG off the record
Yeah.
news. The news is we'll hate each other.
in the ring.
But yeah,
Oh man, if we turn this into Hell in a Cell, Hell in a Studio.
you won't hear anyone talking. You just hear stuff being knocked around and punches and fists and stuff like that. But yeah,
Sold.
yeah. So
Tomorrow would win. He's stealth.
yeah, I'm clearly
He'd just
the best there.
disappear into a wall,
So
come
what's
back.
next?
After that is Project Gotham Racing 5, not in development. I don't know if anyone thought it was in development, but apparently we're at the stage on the internet where people have to say, no, we are
That's
not
the thing.
making this.
These are
Leave
my
us alone."
favourite news stories. The ones
No.
where it's about literally nothing happening.
The problem,
amount
I think,
of
the problem
exclusives.
was that there was in early 2013, there was that teaser image that said "come in 2013," and it was on a road sign, and it had a London background, and people said, "Oh shit, it's Project
Yeah.
Gotham because it's got London." And then at the end,
I was Professor Layton.
and then at the end of the year, one of the guys from Microsoft said, "Yeah, I think people got confused by that. I think it was Forza Horizon, and I think they
Yeah.
were maybe thinking, is that yeah, but Forza Horizon doesn't have London in it."
If
So
you- if
that's why
you-
people got mistaken. But now he's just outright said, "No, we're not doing."
If you go back to the CVG Game of the Generation podcast discussions, when we're talking about Forza Horizon, I think Rob Crossley mentions, I think I'm allowed to repeat this because he said it on the internet once already, mentions that the team behind Forza Horizon were originally making that game as a Project Gotham game. So it was originally, when it started, PGR 5.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft said, we're going to turn this into Forza Horizon instead. So at one point, this game did exist in some fashion.
You can tell because Horizon's got a similar kudos type system.
yeah,
to Project
exactly.
Gotham.
I've got a scoop for you.
Go on, Scoop.
Gun 2 is not in development.
I was going to say, the amount of
What?
exclusives we can
What?
pull out of our asses. Right. Listen, guys. News breaking right now, yeah.
Actually, got,
Bioshock Infinite
Shenmue
not
3.
in development.
I actually got excited when you said Gun 2 there. I quite liked Gun.
That was all right.
That passed up.
Just send me a list of your favorite games and I'll go, sequel, not in development.
Half-Life 3.
Well, we don't know. I'm still.
You were so pleased with that.
I'm still getting over the comment section. I never played Half-Life 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. How was the feedback from that?
Constructive.
You don't seem like you're telling the truth there. Your eyes are...
Well, I mean, no. Like, it was some people. It did what it usually does, which is like a couple of people go, "Wow, well, you're an idiot," and then people said, "Well, I don't rate Half-Life at all," and then they all turned on each other, which is fine. But it's weird because it's like people go, "What? You've never played Half-Life 2?" Yes, I just did. That's the entire purpose of this article that I wrote.
Thousands of words.
And I admitted up front I hadn't played it. That's why I wanted to play it. So I played it, and here's what I think.
There's
You haven't played it.
It's literally video evidence of you playing it in the article.
There's video evidence of me.
But yeah, that was a great article.
Well.
If you don't know what we're talking about, if you go on CVG, you'll find in the feature section, you'll find a feature on Nick reflecting on his first time
Can't wait for the next one.
playing. Yeah, the next one's a big one.
Next
We're
one's
not
a big
allowed to say what it is yet.
No.
But
We're
it's,
not.
But
I'm
it's
excited.
it's a big game
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
many
I'm going to get worse
people-
reaction. I
Yeah,
think.
definitely, 100%. People are going to be like, "This guy, how does he work in games?"
How does he walk through the front door of that building every day? Who does he think he is?
Funnily enough, you join Rob on that because literally every game we talk about, he's like, "Nah, I haven't played that."
Good,
Ain't
excellent.
played
That means that
Ain't
when
played
the
that.
hate mail comes, I can say, "Well, he hasn't played it either."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hopefully,
You-
throw
you've
him under
turned-
the bus in front of me.
That seems to be the strategy for dealing with Fallout for this feature of yours. Just deflect or create.
Speaking of which, I've never played Fallout.
I was about to say.
Get out!
You
See
should
what-
play
see
Fallout.
what-
It's a great game.
No.
But moving on from that, we've also been playing a bunch of games, new games. Nick, you played and reviewed Thief. You didn't review it for us.
I haven't reviewed it yet because I had such a huge workload that T3 review's going up tomorrow, and yeah, I'll reviewing it for another place. Nearly finished it. Yeah,
What do you think of it?
I really wanted to like it a heck of a lot. I really did. And there's elements of it that I think are wonderful, but there are elements of it that I'm sitting there going, no. And why wasn't this sorted out? Because, I mean, how long has this been in development now? Is it
Many years.
3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Is that it?
Yeah.
And I don't know how much money they're in the hole for on this one. I don't even want to estimate in case we get it, but I'm willing to bet it's more than 10 million.
Is it a really big project? I didn't realise.
is.
Well,
like,
Well, it doesn't look like it's made on a shoestring. Let me put it that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
I mean, it
So-
looks actually sumptuous.
okay, so it's on that side of it because I've heard a lot of people saying it looks like a next gen game.
It
This
does.
this is the best game to show off what next gen.
That and Rise. Rise does.
Yeah,
Whatever
Rise
else you
is
say about
amazing
Rise, it looks phenomenal, and so does Thief. And Thief also, one of the things I love about it is that it's gotten the lighting just right. I mean, I loved Dishonored, a game this closely resembles, or vice versa. But I always thought the lighting in Dishonored was a bit off, a bit too light. This is absolutely perfect. When you dip into the shadows, you do feel like you've been cloaked by the whole thing. And there's a wonderful kind of way that Garrett in this is very tactile in the way he uses his hands. Like when there's areas in the game where you'll feel around the side of a picture for a catch, so you can open a wall safe. Or when he uses his lock picks and his very, very delicate movements, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Tell you what else looks gorgeous are the loading screens. The loading screens are absolutely phenomenal, and it's a good thing they are because you see an awful lot of them for very long stretches of time.
As in going from one location to the other.
Going from one location to the other, or loading your save game, which happens a lot because
You die.
it's a stealth game, and you've got a cudgel. Woo! They've
Yeah.
got swords. You're going down if they see you, and you can't run away.
That is quite worrying because even if you don't play combat oriented, I don't play combat. I do the full stealth thing, but a lot of that hinges on trial and error, which means doing something, seeing the effect, and then reloading your checkpoint, and then playing out again, over and over.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of worrying because that means I'm going to be looking at a lot of load screens.
Here's the other problem. I don't know. I mean, because I don't know whether or not this has been put about that you can play Thief the same way you could kind of play Splinter Cell Blacklist, which is you can go hell for leather or you can use a combination of that. That's rubbish. If you don't play stealth games, you're going to find Thief incredibly hard going because lots of the enemies are stronger than you and they're all armed with swords and they will kill you. And then you're back to the loading screens again.
That's weird.
And this is not just within the actual maps and the chapter missions either. This is walking around the streets of the city where the guards can spot you. And then you can't even escape them by going to a chapter because while an alarm has sounded, you can't get into the next chapter.
Rough.
There's also areas where like you'll go through a window and you'll start crowbarring open this window and then it fades to black and then you see a loading screen for about 12 seconds and then you're going through the window again. And there's tons of passages where you will creep through this sort of tunnel and see a plank of wood on its side. And then you have to tap the square button to sort of push it to one side. And that happens so many times that, you know...
I was going to say, loading screens seem quite honest to me, though.
Yeah.
After things like, everyone's talking about, you know, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, that they made a big deal of... it's a seamless world. There's never a loading screen. Yeah, but there's loads of bits where you walk through a tunnel for a long time at a slow pace.
An elevator.
Yeah, like Tomb Raider as well did that, where it was like you're going into a new bit and you were artificially slowed down and you just had to like go for a short walk through a rock.
Yeah.
It's that kind of. I almost welcome a loading screen just to know that it's doing its job.
That's one of the mechanics that annoys me more in like modern gaming. Is that thing where you come across something and have to keep pressing the button. Was it God of War that introduced that?
Well, QuickTime events?
Not necessarily QuickTime, but when you
and
come to something, instead of just
yeah.
opening, you go just to kind of
that was a big God of War thing, yeah. I love that in God of War. I was like, look at this. I am ripping the top of it.
It's fair enough in that because it felt like a new thing, but to have it in so many games...
I want to see that exact mechanic applied to the most mundane motions in real life, like opening a can, or like make
Isn't
it as
that literally Heavy Rain.
Yeah,
you've just
maybe.
described when he's cooking.
Maybe.
That having all been said, though, like I said, if you can put up with the loading screens and you can put up with, silly kind of events to get you from one section of the city to another, and even if you can put up with a story that is. It didn't make much of an impact on me, and also the writers seem to rely a lot on Garrett blacking out whenever they need to
and going to a loading screen.
Yeah, no, seriously. Whenever the story needs a kick forward in the narrative, he collapses. You know. But all that having been said, mechanically it's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. I mean, you are kind of. It doesn't have the emergent gameplay that something like Dishonored has because you had that. You didn't just have weapons, you had like a bunch of superpowers where you could also teleport and possess certain things, certain animals. But, you know, to a degree, Garrett's movement is kind of stunted because he's moving around the ground and then he's climbing up onto buildings. And between those two areas, he doesn't have a lot of movement to do. Whereas in Dishonored, you could kind of teleport between sections of the roof and into areas which, you know, you probably wouldn't be able to get into otherwise. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It feels like a little bit muddled. I'll give you an example, right? There's a really good mission which takes place in a brothel. And that's not why it's a good mission, but it's a good start. Anyway, so you're in
Why do all these games have a brothel mission? Didn't Dishonored have the exact
You're
same?
in the seedy world.
Yeah, you're in the seedy steampunk world.
And you get to see titties.
And you break in, and there are these two ladies of the night who are mixing up a massive batch of opium. And Garrett's internal monologue goes...
Collapse.
No, he goes... he goes... if I was to sabotage that machine, it would feed the fumes from that opium into the air ducts, and it's lights out for everybody. And I thought, well, that'll make this a lot easier. I'll do that. So I spent like 10 minutes sneaking across this room while these two ladies of the night were, you know, otherwise engaged. I get around the back of this machine. I see the panel. I go up to it. It says wire cutters required. I was like, what's this? No one's mentioned wire cutters up until now. And it's the same when you came across your first events. It's like, who crowbar required? It's like, I thought I had a crowbar that was using to open all those windows. But no, you need a proper screw-on crowbar. And I was like, where do I find all this? And I actually had to phone up someone who'd finished the game. And they said, oh, you know that guy in the pub? Which guy? Why are you standing outside the pub?
What pub?
Well, he's got a hat on. Yes. Well, occasionally he says, "Do you want to buy something?" Well, I haven't heard him say it. Well, he's where you buy everything from.
That's balls.
I was like,
Oh,
I was into like 3 missions before I noticed that.
damn.
That's proper early 90s point and click stuff, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Infuriating.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you want the old school thing, just turn off, go for the hardcore mode, you turn off all the sort of bells and whistles. You'll get the proper point and click kind of feeling, and, maybe that's what they were aiming for.
Yeah.
I do ordinarily like to do that stuff, but I do that by putting my faith in the game's mechanics and design, that it's solid and it won't completely fall apart while I'm playing it. And Dishonored, for the most part, although there were parts of it I didn't like, it held together really well mechanically, and kind of like the internal logic was really good, and it didn't like withhold key information that I need to play my style. But it sounds like this might be doing similar things.
I'd still recommend it. For 2 reasons. Firstly, it looks great and it handles, for the most part, great. But also because I'm like you, I'm a massive, massive fan of stealth. And I think that stealth is dying a very quick death as we go from one gen to the next gen. I mean, every stealth game these days is getting louder and louder and louder. Hitman, Splinter Cell,
Metal Gear's got the
Metal
same
Gear, and I don't want to see stealth as a genre die out. And so, if you want a true blue stealth game, this is as close as you're going to get at the moment, even though they do have like these massive explosions thrown into the
and your main character keeps blacking out.
Yep.
Which is pretty shitty for a guy who's a thief. He's essentially like
if he was a doctor,
character from Rat Race. Just like
that is a powerful reference.
Thank you.
You brought up Rat Race, the
love that
remake
movie.
of Rat Race.
I love that movie. So also, Nick, you went to Helsinki.
Yep.
That's right, and you played a game called Trials Fusion.
Yeah.
Nice.
Are there any Trials fans in this?
Yep.
Yeah,
Always.
everyone here is a Trials fans. Regale us with tales of Trials, because you told me a bit about it earlier this week.
You will love it.
And
it's the Twitch.
Go.
You'll love it. It's okay. First, like they've got a very kind of, in terms of the kind of core experience. Obviously, it's a very, if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of thing. You're still balancing a rider, and you're still balancing on a bike, and you're going up these crazy courses. But they've thrown in basically a kind of SSX element to it with the FMX mode.
Yes.
Where like in the past that your only kind of trick that you could pull was to pinwheel your bike backwards or forwards.
Yeah.
In this one, if you use the right thumbstick, your rider basically starts swinging up and down on the handlebars, or he'll let go and he'll hang onto the back fender while he's in the midair, or he'll stand on the handlebars like he's a hero on a mountaintop. And the thing is, you can still spin him, but you might want to kind of practice a bit, because all the physics are still in play. So if you're in the air and you've let go of the bike and your rider is basically hanging down from these bars and he's spinning round and round, when you put him back on the bike, he will slam back onto the bike depending where he is in his momentum and where he is in the somersault.
Right.
So your bike could start spinning at a massive rate as he lands on the seat, or it could slow down a bit if you catch him on the right ankle. What else have they got? They got
is all the bike rider trick stuff actually built with a scoring system in mind?
The FMX races are. You can be as flash as you like in some of the other ones. Like, for example, if you're just doing a straight ahead race or a time challenge or whatever, you can pull tricks, but you won't get points for it. But for the FMX ones, you get points, and obviously it multiplies as you chain them all together, and you don't mess up.
I think what's going to be interesting is, because the physics are still in play, how you can manipulate them using your tricks and momentum of rider to kind of shave time off your normal runs.
Yeah.
If you could like do a stupid trick and then last second slam your rider back onto the bike, but it propels the bike forward over some obstacles or something, and you can still land it, that could be like loads of seconds shaved off. Yeah,
and it also depends on which bike you're using, because you obviously have like your everything from your beginner bike, where it's slightly responsive and it's got a nice throttle, to the bikes which are ultra responsive, and if you hit the throttle too hard, the back wheel will just fly out from underneath you. But you also now can ride a quad, which are quite heavy in the air, but they're easier to land, and you can also have a bicycle. You can ride a bicycle. Some of the courses we did in multiplayer, actually, we're thinking they're probably going to have to tweak them before they release it, because there were some hills that we didn't have the momentum to get up, and we couldn't pedal fast enough.
So you have to actually hammer the button to pedal.
No. Well, no. You just hold down on the throttle.
Ah.
So if you don't let go of the throttle, you see him pedaling in the air as he spins round and round.
And the quad bikes, are they like designed? It seems like that's the kind of thing you put in there for newbies to kind of grab hold of because it's more weighted.
Yes and no, because you can really get an edge on your opponents if you land on four wheels. If you land on the back wheel, and someone next to you lands on the front on four wheels, they zoom ahead of you.
Right.
So there is a sort of deftness to it. I mean, it's the philosophy that runs throughout the game, which is it's easy to play, but it's very hard to master.
Right.
Yeah.
They've got tons of collectibles in there as well. The mini games, you can stop in the middle of one course and play tennis against a penguin. And yeah, as you do,
that sounds good.
You can fall down a hole and land in a fire and get barbecued by penguins.
So very much penguins.
Penguins are the new squirrels.
Yeah.
Nice. There's challenge modes as well, where the challenge actually changes. If you stop at the challenge area and you wait 10 seconds, the challenge resets itself and does something different. The challenge we would demonstrate was like the developer basically took his rider and made him fly head first into a pile of cactus. And then the whole kind of game took on a very psychedelic veneer, as though he just swallowed peyote, and there he was off, and he was bursting up into the sky with fireworks going on behind him.
Nice.
There's challenges like coming down a ski slope, leaping off your bike, and staying as airborne as you possibly can, for as long as you possibly can before you face plant.
Uh-huh.
And then there's one of the ones that will probably keep you like going into the middle of the night is Trials Infinite. It's the infinite mode where like you get 4 lives. It's either 3 or 4 lives, and you get a stretch of track which is would take you about 20 seconds to get over it. But once you get over it, you fall into a portal and you restart, and the whole track dynamically changes.
Right.
And so it's just different track, different track, different track, different track. And the way you get up the leaderboards is how many of those can you complete before you wreck all your lives.
Nice.
Sounds interesting.
The extreme tracks are stupidly hard, though.
Really?
They really are. I mean, we found out that they actually get like some elite trial players. They literally just rang them up and got them in to design the tracks for them. Like one was
That's always dangerous.
One was called Inferno, and it had like these 3 rings that were sort of one at the top, one in the middle, and one down below at opposite ends to each other. And you literally have to get on the bike, fall backwards, and then fall forwards, and then go over the top, simply just bunny hopping the entire way through.
Do they still have track making?
Yep.
Like user
there's still a track editor. There's obviously a multiplayer as well. It's absolutely huge. And to tell you the truth, I think this is where Trials go from being that kind of scrappy, downloadable, cool arcade title to a marquee AAA box product. Because it is box product this time. There's going to be PS4 and Xbox One box product. And, when you think of like, this game started life as kind of, what was it, Trial Bike? A flash game on a website. Like the first Trials HD, it sold 200,000 copies, which later went up to 2 million, and the last one sold 6 million. So you're like talking huge numbers here.
Yeah.
And it absolutely looks gorgeous. It looks utterly gorgeous on a PS4.
All I need to know is, does it still have really obnoxious rap metal over everything? Because that's the best thing about Trials Evolution.
It's got
the best.
I love it.
It's got synth metal.
Oh, interesting. That's a change. That is a fusion.
No, seriously, we were sitting. They had to turn off the sound for it because they were playing the theme song over the top of us in this building we were at in Helsinki, and all we could hear was "It's to the fusion," and it's just stuck in your head for the rest of the day.
I'm down for that.
The opening music in Trials Evolution, it was like 50-50 whether you got that butt rock, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you load it up and it'd just be it's just nondescript. Other times it was nice. This awful rap butt rock.
I love
music,
that so much.
That's part of it. What I liked about it was like it's going to ambush you with it.
It was just this beautiful thing where they were like, this game's completely stupid, and so we've gone all in.
Was it just HD that had the annoying guy speaking at the start of it?
Monday.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think that was just HD. Yeah.
But so that looks. Do you know when that's out? Have they said?
Well, you can edit this out later if we get into trouble.
You can decline to comment if you want.
Well, this is the thing, because they did tell us.
Oh, okay.
But the PRs were going, you can't say that.
Oh.
And we were like, well, they just said it.
I think you should have said it.
And we've recorded it. It's out in April.
All right.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So you don't have to wait that long. But let me find out from the PRs, and we can maybe edit this.
Yeah,
later.
maybe I'll have to edit this bit out.
It's out in boo. Anyway,
Yeah. So you've also been playing Outlast,
yeah.
which is available. Has anyone else played this?
Nah.
You don't have a PS4, so you're a loser.
All right.
Look at that.
You don't have a PS4.
I've downloaded it on PS Plus anyway.
You just
Or
look at
bought
the
it.
icon all day long, like
Yeah.
one day
That's
soon.
probably scary.
Chris, you played it?
I've downloaded it. I'm waiting for an evening when the missus is out so I can.
I
put
played a
the
bit
lights
of it. I played about an hour, 2 hours of it. What'd you make of it so far?
It's terrifying.
I didn't think it was terrifying.
I thought it was well. You see, I'm playing it in a house by myself in the dark.
Yeah, so am
with
I.
headphones on.
Maybe it's I'm more of a man than you.
Maybe you're more of a sick, twisted sod.
Yeah.
I think it's because I've played a lot of and my childhood was basically involved.
Your childhood?
He's
for the most part
I was
involved.
chained in the basement by father.
It involved being forced to watch movies that are just out of my league in
Really?
terms of
Like
horror.
what?
By my earliest memories of like watching like Child's Play and like
fairly.
no, when I was a kid.
Right, fair enough.
Like and then like Shining and all this. Oh, bear in mind I'm only 26, so a lot of these movies that might be like you guys might watch when you were slightly older.
When you old
I was
farts.
when
Yeah.
you're old
What
farts.
is it?
I was.
I'm younger than you.
I was
Yeah, you're okay. You're okay.
I was
Joe.
68
You
when I
can
first
stay in the
watched
young
it.
Yeah.
person's club.
But yeah, stuff like that. Like I'd watch like the funny stuff as well, like Bad Taste. But even like I had quite a fragile mental state back then. I'm like, if I remember correctly, isn't there a scene in Bad Taste where a guy jumps through a monster while wielding a chainsaw?
Yes.
And that was like, holy shit, I'm never forgetting that.
But okay, maybe you play more horror games as well, because like basically the last horror game I played was Dead Space 3, and that wasn't frightening at all.
It's not really a horror game.
No, it's not frightening at all.
No.
I mean, the last game that I can remember thinking this is quite frightening was the first Dead Space, but only the first Dead Space for about the first 6 hours, and then
it got so repetitive after that.
Then you were kind of numb to it.
Yeah.
But the thing about Dead Space was, A, it came out of nowhere. B, it was a franchise that you're like, and the monsters were so well made, just how warpedly human they were at the same time. Other than that, I mean, I haven't really played what you'd call a horror game. I didn't rate Slender very much. I just thought
Slender was good because it has like that kind of shock value to it. Like it overwhelms all of your senses at once. So that's how it kind of gets you. You get the screeching sound, the static, and
but
all
you
of
get
that.
that in Outlast 2.
Yeah, you get that in Outlast 2, but I think it's a little more gradual, and you can control the pace a bit if you want. Like you can move away. With Slender, it's like you can do the same thing to static, and as you're getting closer to the Slender Man or whatever, the static gets louder and all that stuff. So you can kind of figure out where he is and move around. But it's like the rules aren't always as obvious in that game, because I remember starting Slender and I can't tell if I'm supposed to keep eye contact with him or run away from him and try and break eye contact. So it took a while for me to figure that out. But it's kind of like he ambushes you randomly. Whereas with this game, it seems like the pace is a lot more. It's more about being sucked into the pace and atmosphere, and then things slowly unfolding.
Well, one of the things that I think that they got very, very right was that camera.
Yeah.
Okay, because you've played it, right? You know, it's got that
Only
camera.
briefly,
Basically, you have a video camera which you can switch on night vision, and you need that because some of the rooms are pitch black. But it also lends everything a kind of green hue, which makes them look even more kind of warped and screwed up. And that reminded me a lot of that Spanish horror
I was going to say
film,
that
Wreck.
Yeah, just about to say
But
that.
here's the thing: is like the actual setting for the place, and even one of the plot points, which I won't spoil for you, reminded me of an indie horror flick called Session 9.
I love that film.
Did you ever see that?
David Crusoe.
Yeah, Session 9. It was very much like that, because the thing is, it's like the asylum in Outlast doesn't look like Arkham Asylum. It doesn't look like some sort of gothic punk cathedral. It looks like a place that actually exists, and the fact that they don't really push the boat out into territory that is supernatural until later on in the game. For the first hour, 2 hours, this is all plausible. This could all be happening. This is quite nasty, and I actually, maybe you are more of a man than me, because my next door neighbor had to knock on the door because she heard me go, ah! When I opened that first door in the sort of that's
one of the mechanics that I like. You can when you open a door, you how hard you push the analog stick forward, it correlates to how quickly you open the door.
Oh, nice.
And you can do stuff like slam the door and stuff like that. So opening it very slowly. And I mean, I do that quite a lot just because I want to be able to. I don't like the fact that opening it and just having it all be.
I was going to say, you're stealthing.
Yeah, I'm stealthing around.
Always
stealthing. But yeah, that's quite. I like that part of it. It's the game overall. It doesn't seem like it's all that different from something like Amnesia. I think Amnesia is slightly better.
Very close.
Yeah, I mean,
never played that though.
It's really great. I think that's probably the last game that I genuinely. I wasn't scared. I just felt stressed out and felt under pressure. Because it's a game where, like, for example, one of the enemies in it that's always been memorable for me is you don't see him. You go into an area where there's
it's the water guy.
Yeah, the water guy. It's like ankle high water. You never see him, but the moment you put your foot on the water, you can see the splashing of his feet running towards you. But then you have to quickly find a surface that's not touched by water, and then he'll stop. But then you kind of lose track of where he is, so he's always trying to kind of chasing you through this environment. So not having that. Whereas with Outlast, I think a lot of the enemies are they're physical, they're manifested physically so far anyway, and that kind of for me, the first thing I did was try and figure out their AI and try and see if I can break it. And
of course you did.
Yeah, and it's like
you met the twins yet?
I haven't met them yet. No.
You met the doctor yet?
No. I'm quite early in the game. I've just got standard enemies.
You're in for a time.
I mean, there's stuff like there's some parts of it that are kind of weird, like hiding from the enemies. They're kind of, in my session, they were a bit dumb about it.
Yeah.
Like I just run into a locker and it's like there's literally nowhere else you could have heard that noise from. You've run into this room. And they just kind of look around and there's nothing. It's going to go.
It's almost like you exit the cupboard going, "What are you, dumb?"
Yeah, and then just get back in the cupboard when he comes in and says, "Who said that?" No, there's no one here.
But I'm trying to work out whether that's more representative of an evil maniac or less. Like, would they want to desperately find you, or would they be dumb enough to walk away?
That's a weird one, though, because you say to yourself, well, there's when you aim to break the sort of game, you if you're going to buy into the experience, you've got to give them a little bit of rope. I mean,
guess so.
I don't know about you. If I drove up to an asylum in the dead of night, and I saw some abandoned cop cars outside and the doors barricaded, I probably wouldn't climb up the scaffolding and through the upstairs window to see what was happening. And if I did, and I saw a load of blood stains across the wall, I'd probably climb back out of that window.
Let's not forget that this guy's a reporter.
I was going to say,
he's chasing
if you were a proper news journalist,
if you were a real journalist, Nick Cohen, you would be in there quick as you could.
You'd be on the front line.
But no, I like Quicksilver. I wouldn't.
I think the blood is where everyone leaves.
I'd call the cops.
Yeah.
As a game journalist, I don't have to stay in a place where there's blood everywhere.
Well, that's the thing.
What kind of press trip is this?
Yeah. I like the battery mechanic as well. That adds just enough stress to it because every now and then you notice, oh shit, I'm really low on battery. I need to find some quickly. And I have been in situations where I've run out of battery, so I'm just navigating in the dark. And that's been quite stressful as well. You've got to really use the shadows to see if anyone's moving and listen out really, really close.
Worst part is that they've actually done quite a great job with some very gory visuals there. And so, I don't know where you are in the game, but chances are you're being spared some pretty horrible visuals there. Sport.
Yeah, that's nice. I like the... There's this one point where I was hiding behind it. You can lean out of walls just to see what's going on, and I kind of leant out and I saw an enemy, the patrolling enemy, and he'd been doing the circle for about 10-15 seconds. So I thought, this is his path unless someone breaks it. So I looked around and then I kind of crept up towards the kind of door area and just hid on the side just to see, just so I can wait for my time to get out and make a break for it. And I leaned out beforehand, and as I was leaning out, he'd just walked past. So I couldn't, to me, it was like, it's likely he didn't see me. The AI is not that good. But then I leaned back and then I leaned out again. And he did that thing where he pokes his head back, pokes his head out to have a look to see. And it scared the shit out of me. And then I was like, fuck, that's some pretty good AI. But yeah, it's got some really nice touches that I really, really like. It's definitely worth playing. I mean, it's free on PlayStation Plus. So.
It's also, you point out, like, it's true survival horror. I mean, it's at no point are you getting a nail gun or a line thrower in this to get your way out of it. I mean, like, these guys spot you, you're dead. Run, hide, or die. Those are your options. And, I one of the reasons I like playing through Outlast, and probably because it did scare me as much as it did is because there's a lot of horror, especially as soon as a horror franchise becomes a marquee name for a publisher, they gradually start watering it down to appeal to a wider audience, losing what made the thing so appealing to its core base in the first place.
Do you know who...
I'd like to see Red Barrel's next game.
Is it Red Barrel that developed
Barrel.
it? For some reason, I thought it was Zombie Studios because
It's Red Barrel.
Daylight.
Daylight,
That's what they're doing, right? Yeah. So that's the next game, horror-ish kind of game coming out.
That doesn't really... Zombie stuff, you know, that doesn't really seem frightening to me. Although Zombie is pretty...
I don't think it's got anything to do with
was.
zombies. Just the developer's called Zombie Studio.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So, Chris, you had some hands-on time with Wolfenstein.
I'm so excited
The
for
new
this
order.
game.
Why are you excited for this game? What is it about it?
Because it's Wolfenstein.
Why are you excited about Metal Gear, Tim?
Like,
Shit.
Wolfenstein is that game. Wolfenstein is,
although I love shooters and I play a lot of shooters, I don't have the kind of reverence for Wolfenstein that most people do. Maybe it's because it was before my time.
But Wolfenstein was the thing, was probably the first-person shooter I ever played, and one of the weirdest to this day. That game is so messed up, and you don't remember because it seems more normal in comparison to Doom, which is the other game everyone played at that time.
Doom was my first,
yeah, and so there's that sense that Wolfenstein always has this capability to just go completely nuts off just out of nowhere, and that trailer they brought out with the Doom beta thing really made me go, okay, right, they're going where I want them to go with Wolfenstein.
Did you play am I right in thinking there was a Wolfenstein before this?
Yeah. I never played that one.
You never played that one?
No. See, I didn't think...
I've heard people say good things, but
really?
kind of tempered good things, like had good ideas.
Yeah, it was like a...
It's like Big Trouble in Little China.
Really?
If you go in there wanting nothing other than a good time, you'll probably have a good time.
Yeah.
If you thought that you were getting Indiana Jones or you thought you were getting something serious, forget it.
Yeah.
But it was enjoyable. It won't set the world alight.
Yeah. So
it's almost as if Chris has played it and we should be asking him.
Tell us, Chris, about Wolfenstein.
Funny you should ask. So the New Order was kind of off my radar a bit when I went to play it because I wasn't amazingly bothered by it, but it completely blew me away. I was really, really happy with it. Yes. I played the first 3 hours of it, which is the first 3 missions. Take up about 3 hours. And it's just fucking ridiculous. From the word go, which is as you would expect from a Wolfenstein game, like Joe was saying. The opening tutorial mission just throws you in this insane dogfight with thousands of planes flying through the sky, blowing the wings off your plane, and so you've got to pry open the doors of your plane and leap from one plane to the wing of another plane. Well, there's a guy trying to grab you and pull you into their plane, and then it's fucking insane.
Is he screaming in German at the time?
No, this is all your British soldiers. All shouting each other.
This is BJ Blazkowicz.
BJ Blazkowicz and a guy called Fergus, I believe, who's a Scottish guy who I couldn't quite figure out whether he actually was a Scottish voice actor or not.
It's always a struggle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of an iffy Scottish accent. Not that I can talk. Eventually, you crash land outside this castle. I don't want to spoil too much of the plot, obviously, but there's lots of robot dogs, lots of really bizarre things going on. And yes, so there's just an hour of constant madness, and then the opening title comes up, and you're like, "What?" This has just been the prologue, and already in the prologue, there's important things have happened. Again, I know you've had to make some pretty important moral decisions. There've been some deaths you weren't expecting to happen. There's you've found loads of hidden passages already. You've killed at least 50 or 60 people at this point, and then it says, "Oh yeah, Wolfenstein: The New Order."
By the way,
what's going on?
But you've also seen some pretty harrowing things by then.
Yeah,
because without giving too much away, do you remember that bit where you fight the first kind of boss inside the castle, and then the walls start closing in on you, and then you look outside the chamber you're in, and the look of glee on that Nazi scientist's face is really creepy. And the thing is about it is it does address kind of very disturbing stuff. I mean, I remember when we saw it at the E3, and this was probably in your playthrough as well.
Right.
Did you meet, what was her name, Frau Watson?
Yeah.
Her boy toy booby.
I remember, Joe, you were when you were watching the trailer, you were really excited about that character.
Yeah, Frau Engel.
Frau Engel.
What is the deal with this character?
Because she's got a decaled gun. That means she's evil. She loves that gun.
She sits you down and talks you through this test where you pick pictures and she's testing for whether you're Jewish.
Oh my god.
And you know, because she can spot a Jew in an area a mile away sort of thing, and you're like, this is pretty damn dark. But then again, this is a game that gives you a shotgun that's so powerful that when you fire it in somebody's face, it does that kind of, you know what the mulcher used to do to things in Gears of War, or like in the first Quake game when you fired at someone close range, you just saw meat explode.
It's been a long time since jibs were a going concern.
It's jibbed up the wazoo.
But,
and it's got the kind of old school Wolfenstein like hidden areas and stuff like that. There's a bit near the prologue where you see this painting. And you can find these two hidden switches, and this massive painting just slides down and makes a secret corridor appear. And if you go down that corridor, you go down it for quite a while, and you find like kind of like peepholes where you can snipe like the guys you were going to fight otherwise. So there's an optional stealth route you can take, which is like hidden.
Do they let you replace the eyes in a painting with your eyes?
Not that I've seen.
Damn
it! But yeah. So I mean, I've only played the first 3 hours, but it's already like. I really am looking forward to it.
Can you dual wield every gun?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Except cannons you've torn off. Except cannons you've torn off their mounts.
Yeah,
that's all right. I can deal with that.
Then again, you can fry people with those.
Yeah, those are insane.
So the big tech thing for this was the destructible cover. Am I right in thinking that?
I believe so. Yeah, I didn't see a lot of that in what I've played. I think
because I remember when they showed
contextually destructible cover.
No, it's just that most of the environments I was in at the start of the game didn't have a lot of destructible.
Because when I saw the first trailer they showed, they had the guy hiding behind cover, then he fired a hole into the cover and then used that to shoot enemies in the distance.
I didn't see much of that, to be honest. From what I played, a lot of it was kind of straightforward.
So this is very much a kind of style and attitude thing that makes.
Yeah, I mean, it's unashamedly. I mean, the fact it's got no multiplayer to speak of whatsoever. It's like this is a single player, ridiculous adventure, and they're unashamed about that. It's just I've not had like fun with an FPS like that for quite a while. And like after the 3rd hour, I was like, I want more of this. It looks unbelievable. As a PS4 when I was playing, it looks incredible. And that.
When's it coming out?
When is it coming out? Yeah.
Awesome.
It looks to me,
it's kind of like, okay, if you imagine the aesthetic of Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow crossed with Inglourious Bastards, that's what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I do think it stands to be. I don't. As far as I remember, the last Wolfenstein wasn't massive in terms of shooting wise. Do you think this is kind of better positioned to live up to the kind of Wolfenstein legacy?
Well, I'm thinking the Doom beta thing is a genius idea because I think it's going to be another Gears of War Crackdown situation where lots of people bought Crackdown just to get the Gears of War thing, and then it turned out Crackdown was an amazing game. I'm hoping some people who otherwise wouldn't have given a shit about Wolfenstein will buy it to get the Doom beta and then play Wolfenstein and say, actually, this is...
I don't know if it's going to be as effective because, I mean, with Zone of the Enders, you had the game and it was the same with Crackdown, you could play immediately, but the Doom stuff is that you get access to that beta at a later date.
Yeah, but at the same time, they need to make sure that's the only way you can get access to the Doom beta because that's...
Which I don't think it will be. I think...
I mean, it's like... Wolfenstein is never going to be the biggest going concern in the market. And what they've done is essentially assured that their core audience will want that game because, like we were saying, Wolfenstein and Doom, those are the games that go hand in hand. Like, there's so few other games with such strong links in that sense.
Yeah.
It's also got some of the most satisfying hand grenades
it does.
Because, hand grenades... they're hard to get right. Some of them are great, like in the Call of Duty games, and some of them are like rock cakes. But like these ones, if you're in a trench and you've got guys in front of you and you just lob 2-3 of them, they can run anywhere they like. They're all dead, and then the jibs start flying.
Yeah, it's satisfying is the word I would use. Like so much of it, even just like taking out guys, it's just in general feels right. It's something that a lot of FPSs just can't do, but it feels right every time. The guns sound right.
In terms of gameplay feel, is it still like most shooters nowadays? They try and aim for that Call of Duty feel. Is it in the same ballpark?
No. This is a game that when you pull the trigger of a gun, the size of its bullet matters. I mean, like, you get the little sort of...
He's firing bullet bills.
Sort of like, well, no, it's like... there's an author called Joe R. Lansdale who writes a lot of sort of southern fried noir crime novels, and he once used the phrase to describe the sound a customized shotgun makes, and he said, when you fire this thing, it sounds like God letting off a big one. And that's what the shotgun in Wolfenstein sounds like.
Yeah. It's just very much. It's just very much a game with with 90s sensibilities, and it doesn't give a shit. So, so you'll pick up armor that's just lying about, and it just wears away your armor before your health gets worn down. Wow. You'll find a guard who'll run and activate an alarm like in GoldenEye. You'll just sit in a room and wait for hundreds of people to just plow in.
Is it a proper health bar, non-regenerating health?
Yeah, it's non-regenerating health, but it's in segments. So there's like 5 or 6 segments. So when one segment's gone, it doesn't regenerate. That's fine. I'm cool with that.
So does it have? This is the big one. Does it have a picture of BJ Blazkowicz's face at the bottom that looks around?
It doesn't. Sadly.
Mod that in.
But in the cutscenes, BJ does look like his head was carved from granite.
It does.
Perfect.
It does.
It's very boxed.
It does. Yeah, it does look like a modern version of the Doom guy. He's just got a very Doom man face.
Awesome. So Doom, like you said, Doom beta is going to be attached. I think that's going to be the multiplayer beta, right? So
I would say don't get excited about the chainsaw scene that's in the trailer, because there's not much more to it than you see in the trailer. But that aside, that's just nothing.
You've also played and you previewed and you played a bit of South Park, right?
Yes.
And how is that? Has anyone else played South Park?
No.
Is anyone else looking forward to it?
I don't know, because I haven't seen anything about it apart from the delays.
Are you a South Park fan?
Well, I like some South Park, yeah.
Obsidian RPG, I'm in. Like that works for me.
I don't know how. I'm surprised that you're quite as unequivocal about it. Like you're just like, yeah, I'm in.
I just like it. Like I like the look of it. I like the sound of it. I like how it's been conceived. How honest they've been about making it.
Yeah.
Like everything they've done has made me feel better about that project, because I'm more in it for a South Park story. Okay. I really like South Park. It works for me.
But you're bearing in mind that traditionally Obsidian's RPGs have been quite flawed and in some cases unplayable.
Like what?
Like Fallout New Vegas was a hell of a heap of a mess.
I like that game a lot.
But like it was technically there was problems with it.
Yeah, but
see, that's what's tempering my
excitement. That was Obsidian conquering their ineffectual RPG design by world building in such an effective way. Like I loved that world. Yeah. I played for so long in that world just because I wanted to see more of it. If they get that right in the context of South Park, that's a winner.
I'm super excited about it, but that part of them. I understand that part of it is...
It's a simpler game, surely.
Yeah, I understand that part of a lot of their troubles might have been from the fact that the Bethesda's engine was all kinds of awful.
But there's also a parallel to be drawn here, in that, like, if you bought Fallout New Vegas, chances are you're a massive Fallout fan, and you've already bought into that world anyway.
Yeah.
And and looking at it, it's like, is this a groundbreaking departure from Fallout? No, it's just another adventure set in the Fallout universe, which you already want to sign up for anyway. And it's the same with South Park. It's like, do you want to see a South Park adventure? Yeah, yes, you do. So you're already in there.
Yeah.
Do you think South Park is effective at what it does in terms of comedy over 20, 30 hours? Because I like that. Well, I like that show in small bursts, and the movie was kind of pushing it for me. It was like by the end of it, it kind of started to wear thin, and I had my fill of it about halfway through. Do you think that comedy lasts for over 30 hours?
I've watched a lot of South Park, and it's always been quite good on the whole. Like, I'm kind of.
But it's like you watch it in 30-minute chunks, don't you? And it kind of switches from point to point, and it's parodying different things and jiving off different subjects. I see your
point, but it's not going to be straight narrative the entire time. Like, it just needs to be peppered with enough of the flavour to be right. Like, again, we come back to whether Obsidian are going to make a good enough RPG. We should probably, again, talk to Chris about it. But, yeah.
Chris, tell us about South Park. How is it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty massive South Park fan. I mean, like, since it started like years ago, I've been into it, and there's never really been a great South Park game, like, since even the N64 one wasn't that good all the way up to present day, and I think this will be it. I think this is the one, genuinely. I've only played 2 or 3 hours. I can't give like a verdict based on that, obviously, and someone else is doing the review for us, but it's hilarious. For the first few hours, it's constantly hilarious. It looks identical to the TV show. It's a solid enough RPG as well. The battle system similar to the Mario and Luigi games, where it's more to do with your timing and your attacks and your defense. There's that. And it's just stuff I probably can't talk about yet because it's probably embargoed to review. There's like
I was kind of up for it, and then I was sold on it by the really recent, like, they showed the first, what was it, like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, even the stupid, obvious jokes, like one of the character classes is Jew, which it's just like, it's the lowest hanging fruit in the South Park universe, but it still got me.
It's a potato. That's how low that fruit's hanging.
That is a potato, yeah. But like it still got me, and it does look and seems like it plays quite close to the Mario RPGs, which is kind of cool. I'm up for it.
And there's so many like extremely niche jokes, which if you're not that into South Park, it doesn't matter. Just forget about it. It's not crucial to your enjoyment of the game. But people who are like diehard fans of it will just be pissing themselves constantly. Like you go into Cartman's bathroom. And in the cupboard you find one of those Cherokee hair tampons, and like that's really niche, but fair enough. And you go into the shop, it goes all the way back to the start of the when the series started. So when you go to Jimbo and Ned's gun shop, there's a big Scuzzlebutt stuffed like sitting in the front. He was like in the 3rd episode ever, and there's just one of those. It's like it spans all the way back. Even there's a bit which I discovered last night. It's in the first hour of the game, but it's so fucking annoying. It's like you go to a bank. And the guy at the bank lets you deposit your money like you can in like a lot of other RPGs. So you want to deposit some money, you say, okay, so you deposit $20. And money, it doesn't come like in thousands of dollars like it does in other. So like you start with like 20 cents or something. So by like an hour into the game, you've got like $26 to your name. So he says, yeah, do you want to deposit $20? And you say, yeah. And there's an episode of South Park where the guy puts money in the bank and he goes, okay, we're just going to put this in this trust fund. We're going to say, and it's gone. And that's what happens. So you give him $20 and he goes, okay, I'm just going to take your $20. I'm going to put it in a trust fund. We're going to buy some shares and it's gone. And that's it. Your $20 is gone. And you're like, you bastards, you just do our fucking money.
I think it's also got one of the most genius solutions for, in RPG games, none of the characters can ever say your name. Because your name could be anything. Cartman just says, are you sure you want to be called douchebag? And you're like, no, I'm going to put this name in like Chris. It's like, okay, you will be known as douchebag. And for the rest of the game, he just calls you douchebag, which is awesome. It's
just the fact that it's happy to take the piss out of the fact that it's written by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, so it's South Park quality writing all the way through. And they're clearly massive gamers. They've been saying for years that they love games, and I've seen countless interviews with them over years where they've talked about the games they like, and it's clearly know their stuff. And a lot of the jokes are taking the piss out of the RPG genre. It's clear they love the genre, but they're happy to take the piss. Like the bit in the video where you're fighting Clyde at the start, and he says, "I'm going to kick your ass," and Cartman says, "Yeah, you've got to wait your turn." He says, "Well, that doesn't make sense." He says, "Yeah, well, that's how they did it in the old ages. So you've got to take turns. That's how it works." And there's a bit we were running from mission to mission, and Butters is walking behind you. He says, "Yeah, we're sure doing a lot of walking here." It's just like constant. It's brilliant. That's
amazing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think I'm gonna start playing that this week.
It will be better than Family Guy.
Yes.
Without a shadow
it seems authentic. So
it could say game over after 2 hours, and it'd be better than Family Guy already.
So moving on from that, Chris, Joe, you've been playing a game called BaraBariBall, which you want to tell us about, don't you? Have any of you heard of this game?
What is BaraBariBall?
BaraBariBall.
Nick is like, what the fuck's going on?
It's like
I'm confused.
It's coming out as part of this. I think it's on PS3 and PC. Possibly PS4 as well. I can't remember if it's been extended or not. It started as a Kickstarter called Sports Friends. So you've got Johann Sebastian Joust in there. BaraBariBall. They've got one.
Johann Sebastian Joust.
Have you not
seen this game?
No.
Johann Sebastian Joust is
Johann
amazing.
Sebastian Joust?
I've seen Johann Sebastian.
Oh, it's amazing.
You play with Move controllers, and you have to try and hit other people's Move controllers without moving yours too much, or you go out. It's like no screen game.
Oh, okay.
It's like
no screen.
It's a party game.
Yeah.
But and it comes. I think there's one by is it Brendan Foddy, the guy who made Co-op?
Yeah,
he's got one in there, and there's another. I think it's like 4 games. But BaraBariBall is amazing. It's like a mixture between Super Smash Brothers and volleyball. You play either 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. Super stripped back 8-bit style, but not 8-bit visuals.
That. Yeah.
And it's basically you've got a body of water at either side of the arena. You score by throwing a ball that you pick up along the way into the water. If it sinks below the screen, you score. If you sink below the screen, you lose a point. but just this incredibly simple concept that has ludicrously deep combat between 3 different characters. The new build, all 3 characters have 2 different special moves as well, so there's extra kind of nuances of tactics and stuff, and it just becomes this like astoundingly pure fighting game with a sports basis. Like you're doing something else the whole time, and you can watch it played twice and you'll understand how it works. But I've played with one guy for about 15 to 20 hours in the last 6 months or so. Like every time we see each other, we play for a few hours, and it's so deep, it's ridiculous.
So how many characters are there in the game?
There are 3 characters.
Okay.
There's a kind of a quick, weak one, a big, strong one, and then one in the middle who's average, except he has one move that is just better than everyone else's moves, but used contextually. So it works out as an incredibly balanced experience.
So what's the deal with... I'm guessing you can your objectives are either get the ball under the water, or you can focus on trying to kick a player under the water. Yeah,
usually you can't go below 0 points. So you always have to, and it's first 3. So you always have to score 3 goals, whatever happens. You can't. But there's a lot to do with the major mechanic that I've completely forgotten to talk about is the fact that you get, you set in the new version, you set how many jumps you have, but by standard you have 7 jumps. So it's not a double jump, it's 7 jumps. And those are that surrounds you, like there's little circles around your character, and you see them going down as you jump. The point being, if you run out of jumps, obviously if you're off the side of the arena, you sink, you lose a point. You can also, if you're on land and haven't recovered your jumps, which only recover when you're walking.
Oh, so when you say 7 jumps, you mean 7 jumps in one
arc, jump? Yeah.
Like
so it's not a double jump, it's a septuple jump, yeah.
Oh, so you can spam jump 7 times?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's like...
That makes sense.
You can go off the screen if you need to. You can kind of drop faster and then jump past someone as a dodge.
Like Flappy Bird.
It's Flappy Bird mechanic. It's more Maverick Bird. But then, so you've got this mechanic where if you run out of jumps and they then hit you, you take a critical hit and fall down for ages, so that you kind of opened yourself up.
So it's like having your percentage really high in Smash Bros.
Exactly. It's just this amazing set of really simple mechanics. And like honestly, among the best local multiplayer games I've ever played. Like I've played long enough to realise that this is genuinely where it's at. The reason I've been playing it so much is I helped organise a tournament last weekend
with Midnight Resistance.
Right. It's just amazing to see how, because at the moment it's such a small concern, there's so few people playing it. When you play with someone who has learnt to play it somewhere you're not, the differences in how people play is completely astounding. There are whole sets of tactics where you just go, I never thought of doing that. It's wonderful.
It's like the way, it's kind of a weird, specific to me, kind of knowing this kind of comparison, but it's like when people play in America Street Fighter, there's like an East Coast style, West Coast style.
Is there actually?
So there is, yeah. So when they converge for a tournament, you see these 2 styles clash.
And the Midwest blows up.
It's called there's like...
What is the difference between East Coast and West Coast style?
It changes game to game, and it can be...
What was the West Coast style in 2007?
I think the main one was the West Coast style for, I think this is right, when Justin Wong, who everyone knows now as a kind of the big fighting game player, he originally started off as a East Coast player. So there were certain teams in Marvel which he figured out were extremely good, and kind of like he'd popularize a character by showing off. He'd appear and say, like, I play Storm in this way, and then people notice, holy shit, I did not know that if you combine Storm with these 2 characters that you were able to achieve that kind of strategy to a game. Right. And then the West Coast players would go back and kind of integrate that into their thing and figure something out, and then the next time the 2 coasts meet again, it was an exchanging of information each time. But so it's kind of like that when Street Fighter players from East Coast and West Coast come together, or even Japan now. I mean, when Daigo comes over, there's a genuine worry. People like Daigo don't like to play in like casual matches because they call it, there's a fear of being downloaded, which is basically everyone will watch to see if he does anything weird. figure out if they see something strange or they see like his tendencies early, they will go back, come up with a strategy very quickly before fighting him, and then go on and use that in the future. So most players will come, and if they do play casual matches, they'll play very safe, very average, not anything tricky, no sort of advanced strategies. But then when they go into the match, they pull out all these stupid little techniques and strategies. So it's kind of like that.
Well, it's worth pointing out that BaraBariBall is not as deep as a game like Street Fighter. But that's kind of the point. Like, it's built on its purity. It's a 2-button game for a start. Like, well, 2 buttons and a stick. But, yeah, and it just communicates its ideas incredibly visually, so you get the sense that when someone does something unusual, you know exactly why they've done it, and you could replicate that straight away. It's just about learning that will work in a situation for you. It's just, it's a lovely game.
So it's not available freely, is it? You can't just go around and buy it.
Currently available to Kickstarter backers.
And that ship has sailed, hasn't it? Like, you can't buy it.
Yeah, that was a while ago. But I think it comes out in May or June, so it's it's really close.
PC only.
PC and PS3, I think.
Nice.
Maybe PS4 as well, but that might be complete fabrication. But yeah, it's certainly on a console, and I heartily recommend it. Honestly, it's amazing. I'm going to try and get it in the office and do a proper
Get something going. We should do a stream.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, stream would be really good.
So keep an eye out for that for the future. Okay, so last part of this podcast. I don't know if you guys saw, BioWare has launched a Dragon Age Inquisition contest in which they are giving the fans the chance to voice a character in the game. So what they've done is they've essentially published 2 scripts of scenes in the game, and all you've got to do is reenact it with your favorite voices or your attempt at it. Send it in as an audio file, and then go from there.
So we're going to send this in.
I have printed these out.
Yeah.
We're going to reenact them. And then we could send them in.
We should send them to BioWare.
Oh, fine. We'll just point them in the direction.
Because then we could be credited. We can, if any of us
CVG
wins, let's make a thing. We're credited as CVG off the record.
CVG off the record. Yeah, exactly. So there's 2 scenes. In the first scene, in scene 1, a villager confronts the Inquisitor, who is passing through the area. You're playing as the part of the villager. And
take it the Inquisitor in Dragon Age Inquisition is the player.
The main character. Yeah.
I think the Inquisitor's already been cast, darling. That
part's
gone. Already gone.
That's gone.
That's
and in the second
Ian
scene,
McKellen. Not.
In the second scene, the Inquisitor is investigating an abduction and trying to get information from Seneschal.
A shotgun Seneschal.
You are playing the part of Seneschal.
Yeah.
So you can. I think we should. So we should either choose. We should.
Was it Seneschal? You've looked this up.
Yeah, I think it's a. I think it's a sort of old-fashioned butler. It's a dude who looked after the affairs of a noble house.
Yeah. So Joe, would you like to do scene 1 or scene 2?
Well, I want to be Seneschal, so whichever.
So, okay, that's scene 2. So you're playing the. You're playing the part of the Seneschal, which means I will be the Inquisitor.
Right.
So you've got directions on the side for your mood state. So please bear that in mind when doing this. You only get 1 shot. So
I'm going for a sort of
a
worried butler.
Yeah. So you're starting off frantic. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Go. Oh, sorry, I start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Audition.
Right.
Sorry, you haven't got the job.
Action.
The estate was utterly stripped of joy when Lady Rosette disappeared. The Dowager is distraught. She hasn't taken supper in days. Days!
Is that quite good?
Is it possible she's been
I need
assassinated?
direction. Oh, is this right?
Yeah, this is. So I'm playing the Inquisitor.
Is it possible?
So my response is, I see.
Send all of this in. Don't cut.
Is it possible she's been assassinated?
Gasps. Says gasps.
We don't talk like that. It's unthinkable.
No, absolutely not. Not dead. Oh, it carries on. Why is it split over separate lines? Tell BioWare, from me, bollocks.
The scriptwriter.
Please, we're begging you. The Inquisition has access to resources, information. If anyone could locate Rosette, you can. Look, I have the lady's favourite things. Maybe these will help?
A bell on a ribbon and a silk pillow.
I hope they do it just like that. Not just any... I'm going to do this as like quite smug now. It says frantic rambling, rubbish. Not just any silk pillow. It's filled with honeysuckle and mint. She goes quite mad for the blend, and tell your men they might lure her with salted cod, but only on Sundays.
Wait, Lady Rosette is a cat?
Oh, I thought you were saying wait to me.
Lady Rosette is a cat? You sent an urgent missive asking the Inquisition for help in finding a cat.
She's not just a cat. She's the cat. Why, when Empress Celine was visiting the chateau, Lady Rosette slept curled about the Empress's head. Tell me, who else has dared embrace the imperial crown in such a brazen fashion? Who else has been allowed to use the Empress's own person? Rosette is special, even Celine knows it. And scene.
Well played.
I'm out. Oh, God.
That was a strong.
I would never.
That was a strong effort.
I just love the intensity you brought to that.
That was
part.
There was parts when I couldn't even understand it.
Well, exactly. He's frantic babbling.
Yeah, okay.
You're off the hook here. It's like, I see. Is it possible she's been assassinated? Not that I care. I'm a robot.
Right, I'm gonna try and mix it up with my voice as well. Then.
Okay. Well, you being the villager, or
so in scene, do you want to do scene 1 or scene 2?
But don't do that scene again.
Yeah.
Do scene
I
1.
know you can pick.
Well, I'll be the villager, and Nick, you might be the Inquisitor. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I taking direction from you?
What do you mean? No,
Well,
it's just right there.
I want nothing.
The
from you. In trouble in the area.
What voice should I go for with the villager?
Oh, if it's
Whatever you want. This is
your
your time to shine.
Yeah, this is you making your
Get in
bid.
there.
Well,
You
there
are
aren't
the
enough
village.
Scottish accents in gaming, so I might.
Well, exactly, you were talking about
Do
how
it,
Scottish
do it.
accents
Well,
were good enough.
I'll do a Glaswegian Ned, which is the Glaswegian equivalent of a chav.
Are you gonna actually throw in slang where it's appropriate then?
Yeah, I might do.
That's the sign of a
might do.
real...
And also, the second line says laugh, so I might be able to do my Ned laugh as well. Although it's been many years since I've
There a
done that.
Ned laugh.
Oh, there's a Ned
I'm
laugh.
looking forward to
That
this.
was the most Southern English. Is there a Ned
Is there
laugh?
it's just these Neds you speak of.
I'm the Inquisitor, so I'm kind of like what?
You can either
I'm the
play
player.
it. You can
Yeah,
you
you're
can
the
either play it
yeah.
straight and be boring like my one, or you can try and fruity it up.
Let's face it, if it's a player character in a game...
It's going to be boring. That's how
dull.
it's going to sound.
Yeah.
Like when you play it again, when you play Dragon Age Inquisition, you're going to be like, wow, he
going to be
nailed it.
freaking Adam Jensen drawling his way around.
All right,
Okay,
ready?
Let me
3.
get in the zone, into my Ned
Chris,
zone.
make sure you bear in mind the direction on the side, so you need to start wary and suspicious.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, if it isn't the Inquisitor, what do you want with us?
I
Oh, what
want
do you want?
nothing from you. Has there been trouble in the area?
Trouble? I've lost 2 sons and a sister to this war. Everybody around here's lost somebody. Is that trouble enough for you, your worship?
I'm sorry. Is there anything I can do?
Aye, mate. You can turn right around and leave the way you came. Bolt.
I didn't start this war. I'm trying to stop it.
Doesn't matter, mate. I know you. I know people like you. Playing your games, sending my boys to fight your battles.
See you again.
See when it's all over, mate. Do you think it makes a bit of difference who wins? Gaspard or Celine? All the same as us down here in Glasgow.
It'll make a difference. I'll make sure things get better.
It's just pattern, mate. I'll tell you what. It'll be better when the deed come home, and not even the maker can do that.
I think
That
was excellent.
Man.
That was brilliant.
It's better without you giggling through it.
I know. See, man.
Man, I'd love Ken Loach to do a fancy movie. Because you'd be straight
I think
in.
you
You know what's
stand a
going to
chance
really
there.
piss everybody off is if Tamar actually gets cast in this.
Because I played the numbers game. I know how it works.
That accent has never been in any game to date, and it should be. It should be in every game.
Yes,
God, I hope
BioWare,
all
take note.
villagers are Glaswegian Nets.
So,
Send that in.
Yeah,
I'm genuinely
think
Chris has got a
that's a
chance.
good idea.
Chris has smashed it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there were no Neds in Dragon Age days.
Inquisitions. Imagine
Dragon
if,
Age
imagine
days.
if you came face to face.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because the Dragon Age.
Yeah. Imagine if you
Yeah.
found a dragon that spoke like that.
No,
That would be
It'd
perfect.
be a 9 out of 10 game at least.
So yeah, that's the end of the.
That was a weird way to finish.
Yeah,
Usually
that
we
was
have
very-
reader
I've got another-
contributions.
I've got another scoop for you though.
What you got?
You know that game 13?
Yeah.
It's
No
not making a sequel to it.
Oh man!
Look, if Gun 2 isn't happening in 13-2, which would be 15, isn't happening.
Nice counting.
Well done on that.
The
Thank you.
the crossbow in 13, best weapon.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were. I thought we were going to talk about it for a
there,
bit.
But if you want to carry on for another
love
20 minutes,
13.
I
Still
like
love
that game.
13,
As
it's
well. Yeah, it's a
Belgian.
great game.
How that's one thing that needs to be eradicated from games for now and for all time. How dare you have a cliffhanger ending when
Yeah.
you haven't secured funding for your sequel?
Yeah. So
yeah.
You do the Inquisitor.
yeah, I want nothing from you. There you go.
Sweet.
I can do it. Thank you for listening to CVG Off the Record.
If you are still listening.
If you are still listening and you haven't just thrown your iPod into a bin, please follow us on Twitter. We're at CVG_news. Joe is at
2 + 2 is Joe.
the Scottish guy is at
Scully 1888.
Beardman.
I'm at White Noise, WYTENOYZE.
You can read Nick's stuff on T3.
Yeah, and The Guardian.
And The Guardian CVG. And CVG. And Joe Scrubbles, you are
O&M, officialnintendomagazine.co.uk.
Yep.
Read all my news.
Go there. Where me and Chris are CVG. Yeah.
CVG represent.
CVG.co.uk or computerandvideogames.com. Follow us on Twitch. We're going to be streaming regularly. We are streaming regularly. That's Twitch_CVG live. And that's about it. Subscribe.
Pinterest.
High five. MySpace.
Stumble upon. Dig.
Please rate and review us.
Please follow us. Just please follow
Please, why won't you love us?
Subscribe, rate and review us on iTunes. If you've been having problems with the...
chat up lines.
Leave me alone. I need the numbers to go up, okay? If you've been having problems with the subscription feed, we've fixed it now. It's cool.
Yes, it's your problem now.
It's Now if something's going wrong, it's
now you're an Xbox
end.
early adopter to us.
Don't.
Hot
still
damn.
deep. It's still deep.
And scene.